And so finally, just quickly on this, I'm just going to talk about, because we're going to have a go at this in a second, a quick couple of sprints in iteration. So before any project starts, we do something called a kickoff meeting. And this is where we decide the initial product backlog. And what we do is we go through sort of an overview and something called user stories, where we describe what is going to be in the product backlog, so each of the individual items in that backlog. Then we use a technique called Moscow and a technique called planning poker, which I'll come back to. So the Moscow technique. So, you know, in the product backlog, I originally had the idea of must have items, should have items. So what you do is you actually take all the features that are needed within, so decide all the features that are needed for the client, and then you sit with the client and actually ask them to order those features into what must be in the app to make it work, what should be in the app to make it what it is they want, what they could have if they had time, and what they would like maybe in the future. And so you sit down and you form all the features into a grid, and that's how you kind of, from that you can begin to order the backlog. But that's ordering what's the product value, sorry, the business value to the client. But what we don't have is, if something's of high business value, it could take absolutely ages to develop, of which case it doesn't make sense to do that item first. So we use something called planning poker, which is actually cards here at the front forum. I'll have a go at this in a second. So in planning poker, what you're looking to do is you have some data from a previous project that tells you how long a feature will take, okay? And it's got a number assigned to it. They're called story points. So everybody sits in a group, and what you're looking to do is you describe a new feature to the group, and then everybody has an opportunity to put down a card where they say how long they think it's going to take for the new feature. If there's two varying a scope of the numbers put down, then the person who put down the highest value is asked to explain why they put that down. Then the person with the lowest value is asked to put that to explain. And then you re-go again until you're two cards out, so say 2 and 3, of which you just take the highest at that point. We'll have a go at this in a second, but does that kind of make sense to everybody? Yeah? So, finally, let's have a go at building this app.
It's just a design. Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter that much if they don't have halves in. That's a complete pack. So basically on the right, you've got your kind of frame of reference points here. So these are items from a previous project, effectively. So what you're looking to do is compare the numbers against these. Okay? So obviously Prince and Luke are going to run this. The first thing is we need someone to volunteer to count 3, 2, 1. And then everybody puts a card down for each one. So you need to go through each of these features one by one, and then note the number that comes out for story points. So as a giveaway, if you're going to put down the story points for the home page, it's probably pretty easy to note because you've got a frame of reference.
So guys, let's start with the home page.
Hurry.
Which page we use? So, because populating from different websites, all the bits and bobs, all the components of how it's going to look.
Basically, 2 minutes in sprint planning, I'll time it on this. All I want you to do is pick up to 6 points, pick up to 8 points, and then take the features that you pick that are up to those values, and then just break them down into the separate screens you need for those bits. If it's one screen, that's fine. If it's 2, that's fine. You probably won't find it's not much over that, but just decide which screens you're going to need, because in the next 5 minutes, you're then going to draw those screens. Say as well is what's interesting is both teams kind of did something quite different, and the way they went about the processes was quite different, and how they decided on it. And I did read an interesting thing, which is the whole kind of Scrum methodology I presented here, and it's a very brief overview of it. It gets really in depth when you go into it. It's kind of like a framework, so there's no set way of doing it. It's just a guideline for certain things a few things that have to happen, but then it's the team that decides how they go about doing those processes or how they improve. A good analogy of it that I heard was, it's like having a burger joint. You can tell people what's in a burger. So you can tell people that involves a bun, a burger, maybe some cheese, maybe some tomatoes, and possible other things. But everywhere you go, we'll do a completely different burger. And so it's that kind of process. Even though there's kind of a set guidelines to it behind, there's always different ways of doing it, and that's kind of what this is.
My name is Robin Broadfoot. I am a hire apprentice solution architect for National Grid. So today I came along to the Everlist Agile Project Management Masterclass as I was looking to get a much better foundational understanding of Agile as we are planning on bringing that into our ways of working at National Grid more and more. So today I found it was a great explanation of those fundamentals of what Agile is, of where it has come from that waterfall model, that previous way of working, and how it's been adapted and changed to try and meet some of those shortcomings and to ultimately help create better projects in the future by changing the way we work.